Okay, we're going to make tomato marinara. I have the sun-dried tomatoes already pre-soaked, so you can see they're getting plump, they're getting soft now. Half a cup of sun-dried tomatoes that have been soaking for a few hours. And the recipe calls for 3 to 4 tomatoes, but these are very small tomatoes, so I'm using 2 to equal 1 because in the recipe it calls for large tomatoes. So I actually have 8 small tomatoes and half of a red pepper, a jalapeno. I'm going to put half of the jalapeno in. It's a fairly big one and it'll make it quite spicy. So you can gauge for your level of spiciness how much you want to put in. I'm going to put some fresh basil, some oregano. Cayenne is optional. I think again I'm going to leave it out. I'm going to be serving somebody who doesn't like really spicy food, so I want to just have it moderately spicy. I'm going to use 1/4 of a red onion, 1 garlic clove, teaspoon of salt, tablespoon of agave nectar, tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, and a tablespoon of olive oil. One of the secrets to this recipe, I find, is the apple cider vinegar and the agave. It gives it that sweet and sour kind of undertone flavor that really makes it good. So that, I always add a dash of that anytime I'm making a tomato sauce, and it really, really makes a difference. So that's it. It's really easy once you have everything already like this. I'm just going to chop up the vegetables and add them all to the processor, blend it all together, and that's it. And you're going to have tomato marinara. So I'm going to strain the sun-dried tomatoes out of the soak water. If I wanted a little bit more liquidy, I'm going to use the soak water because it has more of the flavor in it than just regular water. So I'll save that at the side. And add half of a red pepper. Food processors make life so easy because they do most of the chopping for you, so everything just needs to be chopped into average size chunks. And add it in. The tomatoes. I washed all the vegetables beforehand so you wouldn't have to wait for me. I'd like to say I had my assistant wash all my tomatoes beforehand. One day soon. So these are small. I'm just going to cut them in 4. I might cut them a little bit more if they were bigger, but like I said, it's easy. I remember shortly after going raw, I had made a big batch of cooked tomato sauce for my family, which took almost all day, all the frying and boiling and chopping, and it's really a time-consuming endeavor. And we were going to go out to see a movie at the theater, and I was told I had half an hour to get ready, or I think it was 15 or 20 minutes. Like, okay, you know what, I'm going to put together a tomato sauce first. And they went, "You crazy? There's no time." And I was like, no, I'm raw now. Life is easy. People often think that when you're raw, it's a lot more work than cooked, and it is initially because you have to get used to the new recipes. We've all kind of grown up with our mothers and our grandmothers cooking, and so it's kind of a no-brainer cooking, but really sometimes it can be more time-consuming. And once you know the techniques, this can really be quite easy. So I'm just going to put half the jalapeno in and leave the other half out. I think that will make it perfect. And some fresh basil leaves. Just put those in. And 1 tablespoon of olive oil. A lot of raw recipes call for a lot of olive oil, but I don't like to eat a lot. But some of it does give it a creamy consistency. It kind of floats on your palate. It is good in the recipe, but I don't like to consume a lot, so I try to use it as moderately as possible in most recipes, depending on what it is. A tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, a tablespoon of agave, just a little bit, so they're not really discernible in there, but they really add a lot. A teaspoon of salt. You can measure out your salt. I know roughly how much a teaspoon is. And which oregano did I say? A teaspoon of oregano. That's what my recipe called for. Tablespoon of oregano. Okay, so a tablespoon is 3 teaspoons. Yeah, that sounds more like it. Okay, a quarter of a red onion. And that is an average medium-sized red onion. So obviously if you have a large red onion, you're just going to use a bit. It should roughly be about 4 tablespoons or a quarter cup onion, which is the quarter cup. There's 4 tablespoons and a quarter cup, so about that size. So that looks maybe slightly large, but it's all good. Give or take a tablespoon and you'll be fine. These recipes are really quite easy. You'd have to stray from them quite a bit to go wrong. And my favorite, the garlic clove. I love garlic. I eat it. I can eat just plain cloves. A bit of chopping just to make sure it gets well blended. And that is it. Everything is in. I'm just going to put the top on now. Process it down into a sauce. And it's going to be quite fine, just slightly chunky. If I see that it's larger chunks are holding on to the side, I'll take my spatula and take it down. Now from here, the level of chunkiness is really personal preference. It's perfect where it is. I'll take this off and show you in the camera. I like it like that, or actually I'm going to do it just a little bit more, but depending on how you like your sauce to be, how thick or chunky you like it. I'm going to be using this as, well actually I'm going to use it for a few things. I'm going to use it in as a sauce for zucchetti. I'm going to use it as a pizza sauce. I have another thicker pizza sauce, but this can be used easily. So sometimes if I'm just in a rush or don't want to take the time to do all of them, I'll just make one tomato marinara sauce, have it in the fridge. You can use it in the lasagna, as a pasta sauce, and as a pizza sauce. This is kind of your all-purpose tomato sauce, which is absolutely delicious. One more peek. That's my perfect consistency. And always taste it, make sure it tastes great. It's perfect.